Remember when you were younger and then you'd see a Subaru and be like, hey, it's loud pipes, gold wheels, and of course it screams of youth. And then next thing, you own one, your years fly by you, and then you're 40 years old and you don't know how you got there. Then you decide we need to make sensible choices, and that's why you get the Subaru Crosstrek. This is the 2023 Subaru Crosstrek, a portmanteau of crossover and trekking. And here's our quick review.
Search Auto Trader.
This is the exterior of the Subaru Crosstrek. Now, it takes a lot of its design elements from the Impreza hatchback, which we don't get in South Africa, unfortunately. But anyways, you can see it's a vehicle geared for adventure, as evidenced by the roof rails, the plastic cladding all over the place. And it is a lifted vehicle at 220 millimeters of ground clearance, which is class leading, might I add. You've got extruding elements like the three-dimensional grille, the extruding headlamps, tail lamps, and just other features of the car that scream adventure, but it's toned down from the radical nature of Subarus of old. It's a pretty cool looking vehicle, if not a little bit tame, but it's not supposed to scare people. It's supposed to attract the older people like me. Behold the heart of the matter. A 2-liter non-turbo petrol boxer engine, signature of Subaru. It produces 115 kilowatts and 196 newton meters. Power is sent to all four wheels using Subaru's Lineartronic CVT transmission. And you also get the signature symmetrical all-wheel drive. Another Subaru signature, might I add. Now, how does this car drive? Well, the power is brisk. It could use a bit more torque, but the real star of the show here is the suspension. Now, it's a relatively simple setup with McPherson struts in the front and double wishbones in the rear. But I don't know how Subaru does it, but this thing can handle on and off-road. It is so sure-footed, the compression and the rebound, it's just so well dampened and focused on driver feel, but also comfort at the same time. The NVH for this car is just sublime, but it's so enjoyable to drive and throw around that you wonder, how did they do it with such a simple setup? It's all in the tuning. So what are you going to get fuel economy wise? Well, this can return a claimed 7.2 liters per 100 Ks. Now, I've been hovering around the 8 and 9 mark, and if you lean on the vehicle quite a bit in an urban setting, you can get closer to 10, which actually isn't bad considering that, yes, this is a boxer motor and it's also all-wheel drive. Pretty decent, I'd say. Welcome to the humble abode that is the Subaru Crosstrek interior. Now, it's modern Subaru as you'd expect because you're greeted with a massive 11.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system housing the Subaru Starlink system. Now, it's not just your music and stuff that this screen shows. You also get your climate controls and you also get vehicle vitals like your off-road angles and everything in between, your cameras and all that, which might I add, it has a 360 view camera, which is very useful for parking and when you're getting into the rough stuff. But apart from that, you also get your analog controls for the infotainment and also your climate controls. As far as the interior comfort goes, the NVH levels for this car are pretty much sublime and it's very comfortable indeed. There's a lot of headroom, there's a lot of legroom, not just in the front, but the rear too, so everyone's gonna have fun in this vehicle. As far as build quality and interior goes, look, the dash is rather plasticky in that, but you do get soft touch materials and textured plastic in a lot of areas. But these seats are ergonomically comfortable, and at least in the S edition, you get a full pack of leather pretty much. And apart from that, the Crosstrek interior is pretty decent. The boot is a bit on the tinier side at 320 liters, but it's mostly the issue with the form of the boot. It's rather shallow, but I think that's maybe just as a result of the all-wheel drive system, and also you get a temporary space-saver wheel. But other than that, this interior, it's intuitive. You get in, you know where everything is, and you just drive. You don't have to think too much about it. We have to chat about safety with the Subaru Crosstrek. Now, what do you get with this vehicle? Now, you get the usual standard safety accoutrement, which is your ABS, your EBD, active torque vectoring, because we have all-wheel drive in that. But one of the biggest highlights in terms of safety, which Subaru tends to hark on about, is their eyesight system. And they have right to do so because it's a really good driver assistance system. Now, apart from the usual active and passive safety systems you'd expect, eyesight includes pre-collision emergency braking, driver monitoring, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and all that jazz. And on top of that, you also get throttle management for pre-collision, rear cross-traffic alert, you get the 360 view camera and all that in between. Now, how does this all fare while you're driving? It's actually not intrusive. It only really comes in when it sees, hey buddy, you're about to mess up, so I think you need to tape off. Oh wait, I gotta save you. That's when it tends to come in. But other than that, the eyesight system leads you to your devices, and interestingly, when I was just checking my phone for something just to test out the system, don't worry, I did this when I was in a car park, it actually warns you with a death-defying glare to stay alert. So yeah, Subaru is definitely keeping you safe in that respect. In terms of other safety stuff, you get 9 airbags. 9 of the stuff. And of course, you also get a 5-star safety rating. So yeah, vehicle's pretty safe. Honey, get the kids, we got a Crosstrek. Let's go. The Subaru Crosstrek is an interesting vehicle, and in my time of testing, I've come to like it a lot, and I'm pretty sad to give it back. Now, it's one of those vehicles where you have to drive it to fully appreciate it and understand it. It's technically not the most interesting on paper, but it really is a good car, I must say. Especially when you compare it to its price competitors being the Volvo XC40 and maybe the Audi Q2 and Hyundai Grand Creta. This car costs, at least in this variant, 669,000 rands. Now, it does seem like a lot, but the devil's in the details of this vehicle. It's such a good, refined drive that I urge you go and test drive this if you're at least interested in adventure and such. But anyways, that's it for now. Tell us what you think about this vehicle. Would you rock it yourself? Would you go and drive this? Please let us know. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Auto Trader YouTube channel, your one-stop shop to the best used and new car marketplace in South Africa today. Try out our instant offer tool if you want to sell your car quick and easy, but you also want to try out our price ratings tool to get a good rating on prices and shop smarter and not harder. Anyways, that's enough yap for now. Don't forget.
Search Auto Trader.